Anytime a show is set in a different year or decade, the production has a whole layer of new challenges to take on. For Stranger Things, the creative team has been pretty accurate, but Season 3 featured some glaring errors that slipped through the cracks among all the mall references, food cameos, and pop culture tie-ins with the show. Along with these errors, check out some glaring mistakes and goofs, including a scene where Mike's legs suddenly get extremely hairy. One of the key moments in the finale of Season 3 was when Dustin finally got to connect with his summer camp girlfriend Susie. He reached out to her to find out one thing: Planck's constant value. Of course, getting an answer like this isn't as easy as it seems because Susie has Dustin croon a little with her too. And while we all got lost in the song, when it finishes, we finally got to hear the value: 6.626070004. The number worked. Hopper and Joyce were able to retrieve the keys and help save the day. And while we happily watched along, not thinking anything of the number, some scientist ears perked up at the scene. The reason? The number Susie gave Dustin was for a Planck's constant accepted in 2014. Back in 1985, the number would have been 6.626176. And who are we to argue with scientists? Although another round of singing the never-ending story could have us believing anything. It takes about 4 digits in before the number actually changes, so it's not the biggest issue, and we're gonna have to guess that around 95% of the viewing audience had no clue anyway. Wait, the scientists are correcting us now. It was actually 98.5% of the viewing audience. Okay, now on to a topic we're a little more familiar with here: movie snack foods. In this case, the classic candy M&Ms. As Will, Eleven, Mike, and the others hang out at the hospital, Mike and Eleven share a snack together. Mike gently pours some M&Ms into Eleven's hand, proving that even small milk chocolates can create teenage angst. But many of us watching weren't worried about Mike and Eleven's relationship. We were concerned with the red M&Ms featured in the scene. Red M&Ms have been a staple in the candy, but from 1976 until 1987, the color was discontinued because of a ban on specific red dyes that were deemed to be carcinogenic. Anyone wanting red M&Ms in 1985 would be forced to have the orange ones instead. Quick question: what's your favorite M&M color of all time? Do the colors even matter if they all taste the same? Let us know. Anyway, this red M&M predicament leaves us with multiple options. Either the production made a mistake, or the hospital has not updated their vending machine in about 9 years. Meaning they're not only eating the bad dye, but the candy itself is long past its shelf life. Maybe this is the reason Eleven lost her powers. Probably not, though. As the chief of police in Hawkins, Indiana, Hopper is a stand-up guy protecting his citizens, abiding by the law, and oh, who are we kidding? The guy's a beast who uses force and scare tactics to get what he wants and when he wants it. Case in point, during the 7-Eleven scene in Season 3, Hopper decides to commandeer someone's car to use as transportation to reach Murray's house. Besides craving a Slim Jim and applauding the brilliant product placement the season used, pay close attention to the gas station nozzle as Hopper returns it to the pump. Notice anything besides the cheap prices we're a little jealous of? Well, the pump features a rubber vapor boot on it. These rubber boots were designed to seal out vapors and prevent air pollution while pumping gas. In reality, these boots were not regulated until 1994 when they were forced on gas stations all over the country. As cars upgraded technology and vapors could be contained more, the boots disappeared and the regulations naturally expired. No matter what, it would have been pretty far-fetched and unlikely to see one of these vapor blockers way back in 1985. And keeping with the whole car theme, let's go back to the very first episode of Season 3. In the closing moments, we watch as Billy plans his motel trip with Mike and Nancy's mom, Karen. As Billy tries to practice his sweet talk in the mirror, his car has an unfortunate turn of events and crashes. During the crash, we hear something hiss out, possible fluids leak, and Billy slams on the dash in frustration as the car doesn't seem to want to start or move again. We're no mechanic, but it seems like a tow truck would be in order here. But in episode 2, after Billy has some playtime with rats and the mind flayer, he marches out like a boss, starts his car, and speeds out of there. How did the smoking and hissing car start up so easily? And once started, Billy is able to rev and drive the thing like he just took it off the lot. Surely the leaking was some sort of cooling fluid, oil getting burned off, or maybe gasoline? Who knows? Either way, the episode break between the two scenes didn't allow us to forget the damage the car endured. We would have been on the phone with AAA and ordering an Uber to get out of there pronto. If there's one thing that will take you out of a show, it's a visible camera crew. The boom mic, some PA running across the set, or a whole set of production members can really wreck a shot. While there wasn't anything too blatant in Season 3 of Stranger Things, there were a few reflective shots that seemed quite challenging to pull off without capturing the cameraman. In episode 5, Nancy and Jonathan find themselves in a hospital battle with their former bosses, who have been overtaken by the Mind Flayer. The scenes are intense with strobing lights, quick attacks, and a crimson red pair for scissors. The error in the scene goes by quick, but is there if you have a good eye. There are multiple times when the scene cuts to a dramatic shot of a hospital surgical light. The highly reflective nature of the light shows a lot of things, including the visible shot of the cameraman, and possibly his camera as well. The scene goes by extremely fast, but you can definitely make out a man wearing shorts, someone who doesn't appear in any of these scenes. Okay, time to get a little nerdy with our Stranger Things Season 3 fact check. Mainly, we're looking at Dustin's toys. After spending some time away at summer camp, Dustin comes home, and at first, it seems like none of his friends showed up to see him. Then, all of a sudden, his toys come alive and guide him into the living room for a fun welcome surprise. While we would have loved to join in the celebration and laugh at Lucas's hairspray to the eye, something about the scene nagged at us. The problem? The Transformer toy that Dustin owns. At first glance, it looks like any old Optimus Prime ready to do some battle. But this is not the case at all. The toy in question is actually a Transformer robot known as Ultra Magnus. While some unpainted or different colored forms were released in Japan in 1985, the one that Dustin owns did not hit toy shelves until 1986. Plus, it wasn't like Dustin could log onto eBay and order the thing from Japan. Getting imported toys back in the day was a complicated process, and probably involved a lot of catalogs and shipping. So technically, the toy should have never been there in the first place. Before the actual season of Stranger Things drops on Netflix, one of the main things we always look forward to in the hype and build-up is the official poster release. Each season has knocked it out of the park with great character collages, and Season 3 was no different. The artists are able to pack in the Starcourt Mall, fireworks, the Hawkins Fun Fair, and the rise of the Mind Flayer. And at the center of it all, Eleven, using her powers and seeing a trickle of blood coming out of her nose. But that doesn't seem right. We know a bloody nose when we see one, and the typical trickle of Eleven's blood always starts out of her left nostril. Sure, there's been times when blood comes out of both nostrils, but never just the right one before. And people were up in arms over Nick Fury's misplaced eye patch? The blood trickle is iconic, a central part of the show. You'd think that at least one person in marketing would have photoshopped that blood onto the other side. Yeah, it's a little nitpicky, but these are more than just regular posters. They become a big part of the show and are a key part of the merchandising. We're not obsessed with Eleven's bloody nose or anything, but on the actual show, there was another mistake found involving some blood. In the 4th episode of Season 3, the Hawkins kids come up with a plan to trap Billy in a town pool sauna and really crank up the heat so the Mind Flayer is drawn out of him. Eleven is a key part of this plan, as she must slam Billy against the wall of the sauna and force the door shut. Naturally, when she does this, blood comes out of her nose. And down the left nostril. Phew, no problems there. The shot cuts to Billy and right back to Eleven, and the blood is gone. What happened? Eleven still has her arms out in a defensive pose, so we know she didn't wipe the stuff away. Maybe Mike dabbed it off, trying to make up for past mistakes? You can still see some faint red in the shot, but the thick red blood is just gone. Working with so many actors and in an intense scene means there's a lot to deal with. But even the little things can get spotted by a keen eye. And this isn't the only action scene where we spotted a glaring error. Okay, let's preface this. We were not busy checking out Mike's legs during the season finale of Season 3. We promise. It's just when a pair of skinny legs gets replaced with thick and hairy ones, you kinda have a hard time not seeing the transformation. Clearly, Mike's stunt double on Stranger Things didn't get too method and shave his legs to help match the character, but one shot slipped into the final cut. The scene in question can be seen a little less than 40 minutes into the battle at Starcourt. After Billy brutally knocks down Max, Mike comes at him for some revenge, but finds his face getting smashed into a pipe instead. The stuntman does the brunt of the work here, and for a quick second, you can spot the whole leg of hair as the guy comes crashing down to the ground. And if the hair wasn't a dead giveaway, you can clearly tell there's some type of wig or different hairstyle on top of his head. So we can call this one a double hair mistake. Once again, we promise, we were not going screenshot by screenshot checking out Mike's legs. Some of the biggest changes for characters in Season 3 came to Nancy and Jonathan as they graduated from high school and were forced to enter the real world. Nancy dreamed of working in the world of journalism, but she quickly learned that it would be a tough ladder to climb with all the sexist men that she worked with. The first episode of the season gave us a prime example of the tough time Nancy would go through as Bruce gave her a ton of strife for giving him a hamburger with no mustard on it. Pay close attention to the burger. You know, like we did with the M&Ms. The first time we see the burger, there's a piece of bacon on the top. After a quick cutaway to Nancy and then back to the burger, we see what seems like a whole different burger. There's ketchup on it and doesn't appear to be any bacon at all. So maybe Nancy didn't mess up. Maybe Bruce just keeps grabbing the wrong burger. Or someone ate the first burger between takes and the new one didn't quite match up. Either way, it's a pretty beefy mistake, one we'll talk about with some cheesy lines. Want some fries with this mistake? Yeah, us too. Wow, I want a burger now! Some of these mistakes were pretty small, but others were glaring errors. We can tell the show runs a pretty tight ship when it comes to keeping their show clean and error-free. What mistake was the most obvious? Are there any we missed? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Screen Rant for more great content.